have a theory around why so many amazing type A girls are single.
Oh, God. Here we go again. Yet another theory from a woman on why things are the way they are, and trying to explain to themselves why men don't want to date them or be in relationships with them anymore. Anyone want to bet that she's going to make this all about how women are paragons of virtue and it really is men's fault that things are the way they are? Well, let's find out.
And it's not because they don't deserve love or that they would make for really good partners or that they're ready for love. It's that they approach dating like any other goal they've had in their life or career.
Okay, I gotta be honest, I think she's making a fair point there. I mean, those so-called type A women, which, by the way, is really nothing more than a fancy way of saying those women are, how do those new agers like to put it? Oh, right. In their masculine instead of being in their feminine. And how that's causing them to struggle to find a relationship. Of course, she doesn't want to have the conversation that the real reason those type A's are unable to attract men is because men don't want to be in relationships with masculine acting women, any more than women want to be in relationships with feminine acting men. I mean, it's not how we're wired biologically. Never has been, and I'm sorry to say, never will be. But hey, when it comes to reality for women, it's not about facts, it's about feelings. And so they try to cope by explaining away reality rather than dealing with it. Anyway, let's hear what else she has to say, shall we?
Let me explain. I'm going to call this theory type A dating. Basically, a type A girl goes on a date and treats that date like a goal that needs to be accomplished. Type A girls really like to be liked. Type A girls know how to make the date go well. Type A girls know how to say the right thing, do the right thing, dress the part. Through all of this, they're so focused on making the date go well and showing up and being the best date possible, just like they are in every other part of their life and career.
Oh my, the amount of cope in what she just said is beyond words, and with all due respect to her, let me see if I can clarify a few things. First off, she's trying to paint a picture here, likely because she's guilty of being that type A person she's talking about, which, by the way, I might add, she's fully entitled to be. If she thinks it helps her in her career, then by all means, she should continue to do that. But along with that should be an acceptance that it is going to hinder her when it comes to relationships. And that's on her, not the men she's trying to date, which are more than likely type A's themselves. And rather than acknowledge that there's a problem, rather than take a step back and admit that there might actually be a problem with what those type A girls are doing on a date, she paints it as a positive, something to be admired, something to be cheered on. All while at the very same time saying these women can't find good men or get into relationships with them. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. But instead of thinking it through or changing, they're instead doubling down on that behavior and thinking that that's somehow going to get them a man. Well, and here's another thought. If they're actually doing it right as she said, if they know how to make the date perfect, if they know how to, again, as she said, say the right things, do the right things, and make the date go well, then why are they failing so miserably at it? I mean, you'd think they'd be asking themselves that very question, but nope. Better to live in denial. As I said, the amount of cope here is off the charts.
That they forget that the point of the date is to figure out if you even like the person you're going on a date with. Type A dating is going into the date like it's a job interview.
Well, yeah, darling. I mean, I hate to burst your bubble, but at least on the first date, that's exactly what it is. Essentially, a job interview. The person you're going on the date with wants to see if you're going to bring something to the table, if you're going to provide something of value to them that makes it worth pursuing further. And you can deny that all you want. You can say that it's not a job interview over and over, but that doesn't make it true. Because, and again, I hate to break it to you, darling, that's exactly what it is. And again, it's something that clearly these type A, or I'd argue pretty much all single women, are failing at. Again, I agree with her that it's something you should be asking yourself. But you see, again, she's only looking at it from her side, the woman's side. And it doesn't matter if they're type A, type B, or type Z even. They all think this way these days, where they can't even fathom that the same thing that they're applying to men applies to them as well. They can't seem to comprehend that those men are asking themselves, and entitled to, by the way, is this the type of woman that I want to spend my life with? Or, if I may continue to use her metaphor, employ. And the reason she and most women can't fathom it is because they don't believe that men should be able to ask themselves that. I mean, how dare they? Don't these incels know that women shouldn't have to prove they bring anything to the table? Because, hey, women are the table. And as I keep saying, it's just another level of how they're trying to cope with the rejection that they're seeing and facing over and over again, and to avoid taking any responsibility for it.
You crushed the job interview, but at the end of the day, do you want the job? Like, do you want the person that you went on a date with?
Which is exactly what men are asking. And the answers are a resounding no. The sad part is, I actually feel sorry for her and the women who think this way, which is most of them. They've all convinced each other that the best way to go through life is to reject their femininity, to no longer be women, but instead try to be like men. And I do sincerely hope that it's working out for them, at least in their careers, though based on what some of my fellow business owners are telling me, it's actually not. But I digress. And one wonders why they think that rejecting their femininity, rejecting their womanhood and all of the positives of it is somehow going to make men want them, want to be in relationships with them, when in reality, it actually repulses men. As I said earlier, it's really no different than how women are repulsed by the pander bears, the guys who cater to their every whim, who refuse to stand up for themselves and allow women to walk all over them. The reality is, men are attracted to women's femininity and all the positives that can bring to a man, just as it is the other way for women. And the problem is, today's women have lost the script. They've been sold a bridge in Brooklyn by feminists and feminism their entire life. One that says that happiness can only be found if they start acting like men. That is the best way, and by their own words, the only way for a woman to be fulfilled. And it's why they despise motherhood and stay-at-home moms so much, calling them pick-me's and worse. And rather than acknowledge that mistake, rather than make changes, they keep looking for ways to justify their purchase of that bridge. And it's why I say, at least for the foreseeable future, they're going to more and more end up alone and unwanted.